What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with a fucking banger, alright? No joke, not kidding right now. Huge hoot and a holler, large banger. So drop a like if you do enjoy. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And I do want to mention real quick, I'm pretty fucking sick right now. I ate a shit pizza from this god-awful dookie fucking garbage pizza place the other day, and I vomited, and I've just been sick ever since. So that pizza was fucked, and fuck that pizza place. And you know who you are, pizza place. Fuck you. I'm sick of this shit. All right. I'm over it. I'm literally sick, and I'm like mentally sick of it. So fuck it. But either way, hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's dive right into it. So my first time going to a strip club. Now, this is, an event that was fairly recent. I'm not going to say exactly how recent, but it was recent enough. If you guys have me on Snapchat, it was probably more recent than many of you may think. But you know what I ended up doing on this particular day was it was a nice, cool Friday evening. And, I was just kind of hanging out and smoking and just not really doing anything. But I really wanted to make some moves. It was a nice day out. I wanted to make some plans and just see what I could do with the day. So I FaceTimed my boy Bobby. Now, he's been in many of my stories. You guys have seen him quite a bit. And, I hit him up and I'm like, yo, what you want? And he's like, oh, just cooling. Let's figure out some shit to do. So we're kind of just sitting on FaceTime and trying to think of a plan. And I believe he suggested the strip club. He was like, yo, why don't we go to a strip club? And I was like, all right, I'm down. And, in the back of my head, I'm thinking like, this is probably going to cost a decent bit of money. And I don't know if it's going to be worth it. So I'm still down, but I'm a little hesitant. I'm like, all right, this is going to be interesting. I was really excited as well. I was nervous, but really excited. So either way, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. So he's like, all right, come pick me up. Let's get ready. Let's go. So I go and pick Bobby up. He's with another friend of mine who we're going to call Eric. Eric, good friend of mine, longtime friend, probably been in a few of my stories, but either way, not important right now. So I pick Bobby and Eric up, and, we decide that we're going to plan out our night pretty well. We're going to go to the liquor store and pick up some drinks. They're going to drink on the way there, and then once I get there, I'm just going to chug whatever I can in the parking lot, and by the time I leave, I'll probably be good. So, yeah, that was kind of my plan. So either way, we went to the liquor store, and we bought a bunch of beers. Not beers, we bought some harder stuff, but either way, they were great, beers, whatever the fuck you want to call them. They were great. We bought some great alcohol, not like vodka or nothing, because that's just too much to drink when you're, like in a car. I feel like that's like a party setting kind of beverage. Beer's more like a kick back and relax kind of strip club beverage, in my opinion. So either way, we're pulling up to the strip club. It's like 45 minutes away, and reason being, we had to go to one, that was super far away because none of us are 21, and we had to find the only strip club we could find that did not serve alcohol and was only 18 and over. So, we had to drive all the way out there to bumfuck nowhere. I mean, literally, there was just like cornfields around this fucking strip club. It was kind of seedy and, a little bit shady as well. And we pulled up at like, I want to say it was maybe like 10 p.m. No, we got there at like 9:30, I want to say. And, we walked in. I hit the ATM before as well, pulled out some money. And, I had about like $350 on me, right? And I brought in more than you ever should. And that's the thing, right? Another thing I forgot to mention, before I chug my drinks and went into the club and all that, they had this really weird setup where, like, they had a bouncer / security guy outside, but he was in a car, and I think he was trying to be undercover. It was, like, just a normal, like, Ford Fiesta or some really weird car, and just this huge buff-ass dude sitting in it, and the window was down, and he was, like, on his walkie-talkie, but, like, the car was running the whole time, so I don't know what the fuck was going on there, dude. Like, how much gas were they wasting just having this dude sit in a running car? Like, that's kind of excessive in my opinion. What's he gonna do? Run someone over? Like, fucking hell, dude. But either way, I walk in, they check our IDs, and it's $25 admission. Kind of taxed, but whatever, and then we pay that, and, the like, not a bouncer, but like the host dude or whatever, it was a guy, and there was like, most of the girls were just kind of all around, sitting around tables and stuff. But this dude led us to a table. He was like, oh, let me get you guys a table. And I wasn't really familiar with how strip clubs work. Like, I didn't really know if I was going to get a table or if I just like walk in. Like after I pay, it's just like, all right, just walk around, or like how it's supposed to go. But yeah, they gave us like seats and a table and everything. The three of us, we all sat down. We were real close to the front. It was nice. We had a good view, and they had like one big pole and a stage in the middle, and then it was just really dark everywhere else and just tables everywhere. And there was just a bunch of like, it was full nude. So like these girls, pretty much 95% of them like only had thongs on, like no bra, none of that shit. So great view, I'll tell you that. There was some fake tits. I'm not a fan of fake tits personally, but hey, I'm not going to criticize or complain. Fuck it, whatever. So we're sitting there for, I want to say maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and this woman comes over, not a stripper, she was like an older manager lady, and asked if we wanted anything to drink. So, I think we just got some waters. I got a water. I don't remember what, Bobby and Eric got, but I got a water. And eventually, after watching a couple girls dance on like the main stage, like we weren't really sure if we were supposed to like go over to the like girls or like if they were supposed to come to us, like, cause the only time I've ever encountered a strip club is in GTA when I was in like 5th grade. And listen, if y'all played GTA as a little kid, you can't lie. You went to the strip club. You went to the strip club. If you were 6th grade and under and you played Grand Theft Auto before, you definitely went to the strip club. But either way, anyways, back on topic. So, I wasn't really sure how it worked. Like, I didn't want to like, I don't know. I was a little like concerned. I didn't want to like do something that I wasn't supposed to, because I felt like it was very strict, which it was, but I found out later. Well, not really, but it kind of was. Either way, I'll get to that later. So finally, after a couple girls finished dancing, there's a girl who, even though it's probably her fake stripper name, I'm still going to use a fake name for her fake name, just for her protection. So we're going to call her Ashley, the classic female name that I use almost every story when there's a female or two. Ashley's in there sometimes, and this one's an Ashley, all right? So this girl named, we're going to call Ashley, comes and sits down next to me. Titty's already out, right? Or no, actually they weren't out yet, but they were kind of hanging out. They were pretty much there. And she was, she was pretty thin. She was I couldn't tell what like ethnicity she was because it was really dark. Like, I think she had some Asian, but I couldn't really tell. So I didn't want to like say for sure she was Asian, but I definitely feel like there was some Asian in her. So we're going to go with like Asian American, which was a nice mix because I've never like, I don't know, dude. I've never done anything with an Asian American girl, even though like this technically doesn't count because it's a stripper. Still, it's cool, cool experience. So either way, she sits down, starts talking to me, asks if I want to dance. I'm like, yeah, like, sure, whatever, and then she tells me the prices. She's like 50 full nude and then 30, not full nude, and it's like 2 songs, right? So you pay 30 for like not full nude and it's 2 songs. You pay 50 and then it's 2 songs full nude. Unless it's the feature. Then they tax you and they never tell you when it's the feature. That's how they get you. Be careful. I don't know if a lot of clubs do this because this is the only strip club I've ever been to because I'm still not 21, but when it's the feature, they really try to avoid telling you unless you ask, and they announce it very quietly. So when you're getting a dance, you can't really hear it, and they count it even when you're getting a private dance. And they charge you like the $50, but for one dance instead of 2 for the quote-unquote feature song or whatever. It's some bullshit, but either way, I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, fuck it, I'm down. So at that point, Ashley was the only girl who would come up to the 3 of us. Bobby and Eric were still sitting there at the table, and they just kind of like looked over and were just kind of like talking among each other and like laughing as I like walked away with this girl. And she grabbed my hand. She led me away very directly. And, I noticed as I was walking around, I think one thing that benefited us as a group was that we were by far the youngest guys in the club, except this one other dude who was maybe like 2 or 3 years, maybe 3 or 4 years actually older than us. Like, we were by far the youngest. A lot of the dudes in there were old and kind of creepy. So, I think it definitely benefited what I'm going to get to here because shit went down. But either way, so, she leads me into this little back area, and there's these little booths with like curtains, and it's really weird. It's just this individual seat, and she just kind of leads me into this little booth, and I just sit down, and then she closes the curtain. It's kind of like the strip club in GTA almost. It really was, except it was way bigger. There was like a billion of these fucking booths in this club, which didn't make sense because there was only like 10 girls, I'm pretty sure. But my fucking god, they had like at least like 30 booths, dude. It was retarded. But either way, so she sits me down. And, she kind of takes a second, and she, like, takes off her heels, I'm pretty sure. I think she did something. I don't know what she did. Something with her shoes. And, she kind of, how she started it off was she gets on my lap, right? And it caught me very off guard because I wasn't sure if I was, like, allowed to touch or not, right? And, I had heard of some clubs where you can't touch, and there was no policy. Like, the only thing I knew was this club was full nude. Nobody had informed me if I could touch yet or not. So I didn't want to, like, especially if I wasn't in the VIP yet. I was just getting a dance, I didn't want to get too touchy-feely or nothing. So I just kind of had my hands by my sides, and she's, like, on my lap and, like, undoing her bra facing me. And as soon as she, like, throws her bra on the floor behind her, right? She kind of leans in and, like, gets off my lap and, like, stands up and just shoves her tit in my mouth. And I was like, oh, I can touch. That's cool. Not a word was said. She literally just kind of, like, looks at me. Like, we make brief eye contact, and she just leans in and her tit's in my mouth. And it was just phenomenal. It was great news, let me tell you. So, she had great piercings too, great tits. Like, they weren't fake. That's the thing. There were a few girls in there who had fake tits, and personally, I'm not a fan of fake tits. I just can't do it. Like, I like them real, even if they're small. I prefer that to fake. I really do, honestly. But either way, this girl's were real, and she had some very nice piercings. So, shout out to Ashley. Really just 10 out of 10. So, she's kind of, I don't want to get too descriptive here because I get kind of uncomfortable with the sex stories, but, she's kind of grinding on me, doing her thing, and, all she's really wearing is, she's got this, like, fishnet up to her, like, upper thighs, and then she's just got a thong on, and her bra was the only other thing she was wearing. And then, yeah, actually, that's pretty much all she was wearing, and then her heels or whatever the fuck she had on. I didn't really pay attention to that because I'm not a foot fetish kind of guy, but I bet some of the older guys there probably were. But either way, we go through quite a few songs, and I'm not even paying attention because she has a great ass, too. Let me tell you, phenomenal body. Big tits, but, like, not super big. I'd say probably C cups, but phenomenal. Just a spectacular-looking woman, right? So I've got... At one point, I tried to get 2 titties in my mouth, but it just wasn't going. Like, they were really not gonna just... I couldn't do it. I could not get 2 titties in my mouth. So, I'm just flip-flopping back and forth, left titty, right titty, left titty, right titty. And, she's kind of, she's talking to me here and there, like, in between. She's like, oh, you like that? And, like, dirty talking and shit. Just kind of normal. And towards the end, we get through the 2 songs, and, she didn't even ask if I wanted to do another 2. But, like, I don't know. I just kind of, like, she just kind of gave me another 2 dances, and I was going to pay for them anyways because I was totally down for another 2. So I sat with her for like 4 songs in total. I got 4 dances, and then she threw me another one free, which was pretty cool. And then at the last song, it got a little bit interesting. Not a little bit, quite a bit. She leans in, and she asked me if I want to go to the VIP champagne room, quote unquote, which is an interesting name because there's no alcohol served here. And then she leans back, leans back and she looks at me. And, I'm kind of looking at her for a second. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting question. Then she leans back in and she's like, there's no cameras. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, oh, dear Lord. Either she's going to finesse me or this is going to be dope and maybe, they really do fuck in the VIP or whatever the hell's about to happen. So I was like, how much? I'm kind of curious. And she's like, 300 for 30 minutes. Now, that's expensive as fuck. That's so taxed. But what ended up happening was I got a pretty decent deal because, like, I'd already gotten a couple dances and I had a table. What ended up happening was, I went back out there and, I paid $100 for the 4 dances. Then I got another dance free. So I had to hit an ATM, pull out another quick $50. And I threw out a little extra to tip, because the thing is, it's not like you picture it. Like, people don't just make it rain on strippers. You don't just bring a bunch of singles, they have, like, set rates for everything because motherfuckers are cheap as hell. Like, the dudes who, like, throw singles don't get dances, they just, like, look at the girls on the main stage and don't really touch them, And that's fucked up in my opinion. Why go to a strip club if you can't touch them, Like, I don't know. I mean, I still would have gone because I was under the impression I couldn't touch, but, like, I figured if I'm spending the amount that I could touch, and I was correct. So either way, we go into the VIP quote-unquote champagne room after I pay the $300, and, I was debating on whether or not I was going to get very descriptive with this part of the story, but I figured fuck it, balls to the wall. We went in there, And it kind of gets back to normal, right? Like it's like exactly what we were doing in the like private rooms, but it was like a bigger, better lit, more comfy seat, just bigger area, a true quote unquote champagne room, just without the alcohol and, complimentary drinks. Even the girl, Ashley, she got a pineapple something. It wasn't alcohol, but some pineapple drink, which, I don't know, probably was good, but I just got a water because I didn't really want anything made at the non-alcohol strip club bar. I figured the people there probably don't know what the fuck they're doing because they're not bartenders. So either way, I'm like, all right, let's see what this is all about. And, the first thing she does, she takes a sip of her drink and she like sits on my lap as she's doing it, but like facing away from me and just kind of like starts, like wiggling around, doing her thing. And then she stands up and just takes off her thong. And I'm like, oh, okay. She takes that off, takes her, I think they were heels. I honestly can't remember, but I figured they would be. It's a strip club, so what else would she be wearing? So had to be heels, some sort of nice heels. But either way, she takes those off and, she basically just ripped the bra. Like she barely even had it back on when we came out of the private room. Like she kind of put it back on, but didn't really do it all the way. It was just kind of around her shoulders. So, she just kind of pulls that off and she's fully naked. And I'm sitting here and I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty fucking hard because this chick's really fucking hot. Like, if I'm being completely honest, this girl's probably like an 8.5 out of 10 at least. Like, pretty attractive. I'm not going to lie. So, I'm kind of getting into it, feeling her up a little bit. She flips around, titty in my mouth again. And, I've got my hands on her ass, right? And she kind of reaches back and like guides my hands down to her to avoid getting fully demonetized here, her genital region, down there where all that magic happens, She guided my hands down there. I wasn't sure if I was interested in all that. So what I kind of did was just like I didn't finger her, all right? But I did what I had to do, all right? Believe me, nowhere near my mouth. Don't worry about that. Not happening. Never kiss a stripper. Never eat out a stripper. That's disgusting. If you do that, fuck you. But either way, then after that, she's kind of like dancing on me for a couple songs, doing her thing. I just got titties in my mouth because damn, they're great. Let me tell you, holy shit. And finally, after like 3 songs, I had no idea how much time had gone by, but what ended up happening was, I paid for the quote-unquote 30 minutes, but I ended up getting like damn near an hour with her when I came back out and checked the clock, and it was great. And, what ended up happening was after like 2 or 3 songs, she kind of like took a break, and, during the break, I was just kind of chatting with her. She asked me what I do, a little more about me and shit like that. And then it was maybe like a 3-minute break, because she was a little tired. She was putting in some work. I'm not going to lie. And, then after that, one thing led to another. She kind of got back on her routine, but her hands were, going to places that I didn't think they were allowed to go, if that sums it up for you. And her hands first went to that place where I didn't think they were allowed to go, which I'm not going to say because if you know, you know, and if you don't, then you probably shouldn't know. And then her mouth went to that place where I didn't think it was allowed to go, on me, on my body. And yeah, it was good. I'll tell you that. She was good at it. But wow, I definitely got what I paid for. Like, I was surprised because I don't know if they normally do that. She didn't ask any questions, right? Like, I was expecting, like, okay, she probably would not do that. But as we were talking, like, I don't know, she gave me her phone number towards the end, or she was going to, but I'll get to that later. She was really trying to give me her number. She asked me like 4 times, which I feel like they normally do, but then she was also asking to, like, hang out after her shift, which, like, that's a little interesting. That's a little more like, okay, this is more than usual. But either way, it was good. And, maybe 45, 50 minutes, close to an hour went by. She finished her job. I finished up. I'm going to rate that an 8.5 out of 10 if you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, then you shouldn't know. So that's all I got to say on that topic. And, I went out of the champagne room. I'm not going to lie. I was pretty sweaty. I was in a hoodie. And, oh my God, just fuck. Oh, it was a nice day out, but I still wore a hoodie because it was chilly at night because, it got real cool out because Illinois weather is fucked. But I was dripping. I was real sweaty. Oh man. But either way, I walked back out, sit back at my table. Gave Ashley her money. She did a great job, let me tell you. Gave her a nice smack on the ass on her way out. And she was just a great young lady. And, sat back down at the table. And, the first thing that happened was Bobby and Eric are just kind of laughing, Bobby in particular. And he was like, "How was it, buddy?" And I was like, "Oh, it was really good." And, we just kind of hung out for a minute. We sat and watched a couple more girls. Then, after a couple more features, Bobby and Eric, they went and got their dances. It was great. It was phenomenal. And, it was getting towards closing time. Closing time was 2 a.m. at this club. And I was debating on staying around and, getting that girl's number. But I figured, or getting Ashley's number, excuse me. But I figured, there's no point. She's a stripper. She's just going to text me to, get me back. And either way, I don't really want any extra relations. I just kind of did it for the one time, So, excuse me, but I just kind of did it for the one time, so I don't want any extra shit to deal with. Fuck all that. So either way, we just kind of left after Eric and Bobby got their dances and went back home, and I was feeling real good. We were there for a long time, We stayed and watched a lot more features after they got their dances and left probably around 1:30, 1:45. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like if you did. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.